Imagine this. It's a Tuesday. You're in the break room, pouring coffee, chatting with someone a few rungs up the ladder. Not your direct boss, but someone important enough to shape your next project. Maybe even your next promotion. It's casual. They're talking about the new deals that are coming in, the crazy hours, the opportunities. You're nodding along, thinking this could be big for you, and then you mention it, almost offhand. You say you're going to be gone for the next 2 weeks for military training. You expect a shrug, maybe a thank you for your service, and move on. Instead, the mood shifts. The conversation cools. The questions then start. How long will you be gone again? Is this a regular thing? So, what happens if we really need you? And then the words you never thought you'd hear, especially from someone in leadership. They lean back, coffee in hand, and ask, "Did we know about this when we hired you?" And just like that, everything changes. You're no longer a rising star. See, now you're a problem to manage. You thought your service mattered. You thought the law had your back. Well, you're right. But if we keep punishing people for serving, we're going to wake up one day and realize our all-volunteer force is gone. This isn't just an HR problem. This is the definition of a national security problem. So today on Midweek Sitrep, we begin a 2-part episode for the men and women who serve this great nation as citizen soldiers, and for their families, friends, and coworkers to understand a little bit more about their sacrifice. Hey everybody, welcome back to Midweek Sitrep, your bi-weekly briefing on national security and policy. My name is Jerry Fowler, and I'm your host. Every other week, I break down what you need to know and what you might have missed in the world of national security, all in under 20 minutes, so you can stay mission focused. Before we do a deep dive into the world of veterans protections, let's discuss what we should be monitoring in the world of national security since our last episode. In January, President Biden blocked Nippon Steel's proposed acquisition of U.S. Steel, citing national security concerns. Now, President Trump has ordered a fresh 45-day CFIUS review of the deal, reopening the case and signaling a possible shift in how the new administration views foreign investment in critical industries. On April 28th, the U.S. sanctioned 3 shipping companies for delivering oil and gas to Yemen's Houthi rebels. This move aims to disrupt the Houthis' funding and logistics, especially in light of their recent attacks on Red Sea shipping lanes. China has imposed new restrictions on rare earth mineral exports, prompting U.S. officials to express concern over the potential impact on defense and technology sectors. The U.S. is exploring alternative supply chains to mitigate the strategic vulnerability. The U.S. and Singapore have signaled a commitment to more robust export control enforcement, particularly concerning technology transfers that may violate U.S. regulations. On April 24th, Kyiv experienced its deadliest bombardment of the year, with at least 12 fatalities. Reports suggest a ballistic missile from North Korea may have been used, indicating deepening military ties between Russia and Pyongyang. Stay ahead by monitoring how these stories evolve. Now, let's talk about veterans protections. This idea that your service should not cost you a job is not new. World War II veterans came home to the first re-employment protections because Congress knew if you served, you deserved a fair shot at restarting your life. But after Vietnam, public support faded. Employers started asking things like, "Are you stable enough? How often will you need to leave?" Which translates to, "You're a risk." Fast forward to the Gulf War. Thousands of Guard and Reserve troops were called up. Many came back to find pink slips waiting for them. In response, Congress passed the Uniformed Services Employment and Reemployment Rights Act of 1994, or USERRA. a federal promise that said if you serve your country, your job won't be the price you pay. After 9/11, deployments surged, and USERRA got put to the test. Some companies honored it, some ignored it, and today, the fight is still happening. So you might be wondering, what does USERRA actually do? What does it protect? Well, first, it gives you reemployment rights. If you leave for military duty, you have the right to come back. But not just to any job, to the same one, or the one you would have gotten through promotions or raises. See, that's called the escalator principle. Your career should keep climbing while you serve. The second is anti-discrimination protections. You see, your boss or your future boss cannot do the following: deny you a job because you serve, demote you, pass you over for promotions, freeze you out of important work, or retaliate against you after you come back. The third is benefits and seniority. Your health insurance options remain protected while on leave, your retirement benefits keep accruing, your seniority keeps ticking away while you're away. And there's no small business carve-out. Even with a company with one employee, that employee is covered. And it's not just current service members. Veterans are protected too. So what does veterans discrimination actually look like? Well, today, discrimination usually doesn't come in the form of a firing notice. It's the little things. You're gone a lot. We need someone we can rely on. It's the missed assignments, the skipped promotions, the jokes about being a weekend warrior. Or it's coming back from deployment and finding your role mysteriously restructured. Let's be clear, that's not a coincidence. That's called retaliation. And it's happened, and there's something you can do about it. Let's take, for example, the Department of Justice versus Tape South, Inc. In 2020, U.S. Navy Reservist Lieutenant Commander James Ratke left his civilian job at Tape South, Inc. to fulfill military service obligations. When he tried to return, Tape South terminated his employment, violating USERRA. So what happened? The Justice Department stepped in. Under a settlement, Tape South agreed to pay Ratke $2,500 in lost income and provide mandatory USERRA training to all of its employees. Assistant Attorney General Kristen Clark put it plainly. Given the sacrifices service members already make, it's inexcusable for employers to violate their rights. The bottom line here, if you wear the uniform, the law protects your civilian career. And DOJ is actively enforcing it. All right, so to foot stomp this, quick fire round, rights you didn't know you have. USERRA doesn't just say you can't be fired for serving. It guarantees a lot more than that. You can't be forced to burn your vacation days for military training. You can't be skipped over for promotions because your boss is tired of you being gone. You're protected before you even start the job. Discrimination in hiring is illegal too. Your civilian retirement benefits, like your 401k, they keep growing as if you never left. And you have 90 days after returning from service to apply for reemployment. USERRA isn't just a safety net. It's a force multiplier for the people America depends on. So if this happens to you, here's the first rule. Don't panic. Don't quit. And don't lash out. Instead, I'm going to give you 2 steps. The first step, document everything. Emails, conversations, job descriptions, performance reviews. Step 2, call ESGR. The employer support of the Guard and Reserve isn't just a name. It's your first call for backup. Think of ESGR like the quiet professional. They mediate disputes. They educate managers. They de-escalate tensions before it becomes a lawsuit or a LinkedIn scandal. Let's go through a little scenario. Let's say a Marine reservist is denied a bonus after missing 1 week for military training. ESGR steps in, 1 call later, That bonus is now reinstated, no lawyers, no public fight. And if the mediation fails, you escalate it to the Department of Labor. And if necessary, the Department of Justice. Still free, still on your side. Let's strip it all down. It's not just a paycheck. And it's not just a promotion. It's trust. It's a life built over years, with the belief that if you answer the call to serve, your future will still be there when you get home. USERRA protects that trust. It protects that life. But when employers ignore it, the damage goes deeper than any paycheck ever could. That missed paycheck is now a missed mortgage payment. It's repossessed cars. It's families scrambling to stay afloat while their loved one stands watch half a world away. Imagine being a 29-year-old Army reservist. You come home after a year overseas. Your boots are still dusty from the desert, your medal's still pinned on your chest, and instead of a welcome back, you get a voicemail. Your job's gone. Your future's uncertain. Your life has moved on without you. One missed reemployment isn't just a career detour. It's debt. It's depression. It's divorce. And for the nation, it's something far worse. Every time a soldier thinks twice about re-enlisting because they're afraid of losing their civilian career, that's a slow bleed. A slow bleed in readiness, a slow bleed in morale, and a slow bleed in national security. Because when we fail to protect service members' livelihoods, we're not just breaking a law. We're breaking the force that defends this nation, which is the ultimate national security risk. So if you're an employer, here's the bottom line. If you mess this up, you won't just pay in court. You're going to pay in reputation. So let's avoid the landmines. Don't ask, are you going to get deployed a lot? Don't assume we can't promote someone who's going to be gone. And don't restructure jobs while someone is away. Instead, do this. Create a military leave policy. Train your supervisors. Call ESGR and sign a statement of support. Nominate outstanding supervisors for ESGR's Patriot Award. Let's do another scenario. Let's say a small business signs ESGR's statement of support. They nominate a manager for the Patriot Award, and they win. Their LinkedIn explodes with positivity, veterans, and customers. Compliance protects, but culture wins. This is national security. Let's not lose the plot. We're not talking about leave policies. We're not talking about HR checklists. We're talking about volunteers. Men and women who live two lives, civilian and soldier, because they believe in something bigger than themselves. If serving becomes a liability, if loyal to country costs you your career, then we don't just lose jobs. We lose the National Guard. We lose the reserves. We lose the all-volunteer force that underpins America's security. That's not a labor dispute. That's a national security crisis. USERRA just doesn't protect jobs. It protects readiness to make sure that our men and women are trained up, ready to fight the nation's wars. So if you wear the uniform, know your rights. If you manage others, do the right thing. And if you're listening, remember that freedom depends on the ones who serve and the nation that backs them up. So support your troops, not just in words, but support the ones that are with you in the break room. That's it for today's Midweek Sitrep. Next week, we'll be breaking down the reserve components of the armed forces and answering all your questions. If you've enjoyed this episode, make sure to subscribe, share, and stay engaged. And while you're at it, Stop by our store and pick up some merch. The link's in the description and on our social media accounts. I'm Jerry Fowler, and remember, everything is national security. See you next time. Midweek Sitrep with Jerry Fowler is an independent production of OpScent Media Group, LLC. The information provided in this podcast is for general informational purposes only and does not constitute legal, financial, or professional advice. Listeners should consult with a qualified professional before making any decisions based upon the content discussed. The views and opinions expressed in this podcast are solely those of the host, Jerry Fowler, and any guest, and do not reflect the official policy, position, or endorsement of any current or former employer, client, government agency, military organization, educational institution, or any other entity for which the host, Jerry Fowler, may be affiliated. Mention of a company, product, or service does not constitute an endorsement or recommendation. Any references are provided for informational purposes only. This podcast does not disclose any classified, proprietary, or confidential information. All discussions are based upon publicly available information and personal expertise. Everything's national security. OpScent Media Group, LLC.